Once in a while, in the middle of an ordinary life, love gives us a fairy tale. Today, we're reminded that love should never be taken for granted. It's a day that celebrates interracial marriage and, frankly, love of all kinds, because 55 years ago, history was made. Loving Day is celebrated on June 12 and commemorates the landmark Supreme Court decision Loving versus Virginia. The Supreme Court's decision in this case legalized interracial marriage nationwide. Only a half-century ago, cruel and unjust laws prevented interracial couples from marrying in 16 states, one being Mississippi. But those racist mandates were overturned thanks to the power of a real-life love story that began in 1958. Mildred Jeter, a woman of African and Native American descent, and Richard Loving, a white man, lived in Caroline County, Virginia, and fell in love. But, unfortunately, laws banning interracial marriage existed in several states, including their own, preventing them from marrying legally. The decision was made on June 12, 1967, 9 years after the Lovings first said, "I do." It was declared, under our Constitution, the freedom to marry or not marry a person of another race resides within the individual and cannot be infringed on by the state. The Supreme Court ruling made it legal in every state for men and women to marry whomever they loved, regardless of the color of their skin. Thanks to Mildred and Richard for proving to the world that love is always worth fighting for. So, on this day, Spencer and Dani have chosen to honor history by celebrating their own magical love with family and friends. Fast forward 52 years, the buzz was finding love, and the love story of Courtney Danielle Smith of Mississippi and Spencer Kerr Gray of Iowa begins. 2 days after matching on the popular dating platform Bumble, Spencer and Dani met for their first date at a restaurant at University Village. Spencer didn't want to waste time and was intentional once they met in person, asking Dani a series of questions to help him determine whether their lifestyles were compatible. The seriousness of their first conversation surprised Dani, but it also opened the door for her to bring up something on her mind: race. Growing up in the South, Dani had had her share of racist dating experiences, including a relationship with a man who asked her to stay home on Easter Sunday because, quote, his church wouldn't be ready, unquote, to see them together. But after moving to the Northeast and becoming more involved in social justice movements, finding a partner who would fully accept and support her had become non-negotiable. Spencer wanted to try on new eyeglasses and trusted Dani, someone he had never met, to help him choose the perfect pair. Despite his less than perfect vision, he saw their future clear all along. The couple dated for 2 months before Spencer officially asked Dani to be his girlfriend. They took weekend trips to places like Portland, Oregon, and Dani's hometown, Starkville, Mississippi. They got a dog, and they attended sporting events together, sitting front row at a Seattle Sounders soccer match and watching Dani's alma mater, Mississippi State, compete in the Sweet 16 college basketball tournament. In April 2021, as they were approaching their second anniversary, Dani saw an announcement for a Bumble contest, asking couples who met on the app to share their story. Bumble wanted to celebrate a success story in a major way and partnered with legendary jewelry brand Tiffany's to give the winners a trip to New York City to pick out a Tiffany's engagement ring. Dani convinced Spencer to enter, and they each created social media posts about their relationship. Ultimately, Spencer's entry won, and in May, they were flown to New York City. The trip coincided with Dani's 35th birthday, so the couple spent the first night of their trip celebrating. Then, when they showed up at the Tiffany's store on 6th Avenue the following morning, Spencer tricked Dani by telling her they were only there to pick out the ring. but wouldn't take it home that day because it would then need to be sized and shipped to them in Seattle. She was interested in a few rings, but when she put on a ring with the traditional 6-prong Tiffany setting, she grabbed Spencer's hand and got teary-eyed. When they left the store, sans jewelry, Dani had no idea Spencer was conspiring with Bumble to pull off the perfect surprise proposal. The following morning, they went to Central Park for what Dani thought was a photo shoot to document their trip. While the photographer clicked away on his camera, Spencer got down on one knee and asked Dani to marry him. He twirled her around like they were ballroom dancing, something they do a lot in their kitchen at home. He grabbed her hand, then he pulled out that little blue Tiffany's box. For Dani, meeting Spencer is like the Cinderella fairy tale. One shoe changed her life. And now, with Spencer, her Prince Charming, they get to see the world together and live happily ever after. And now, ladies and gentlemen, at this time, please silence and put away any electronic devices and enjoy this magical moment.